Good morning, happy Monday, happy June 14th. Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. Ready to kick off a spectacular week in real estate. Are there any other kinds of weeks in real estate? Come on. No, only spectacular ones. So hey, as we're letting more people in from the waiting room, let's jump right in and start off with a quick video.
Sometimes when grown-ups don't know the answers, they make it up. You have friends who do that. You ask them something they don't know, they just make it up. Well, that can easily be said for kids. I want you to check out some very creative responses that I found that children gave in school that we found on a website called funnyexam.com. Here's the first one. The teacher asked, write less than or more than. So the student puts, well, okay, hell, or. I can promise you that's from one of my school papers. All right, here's a good one. The question reads, you are given the number 694. What would that look like as a Roman numeral? Well, the answer that the student gave was, no idea. We are never gonna use Roman numerals outside of the Super Bowl. But the teacher said, ha, that's not the point. All right, finally, here's this one right here. To change centimeters to meters, you blank. So the kid writes, take out centi. Hey, that's it for this hour.
All righty, take out centi. So you have to give the kid credit. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Just like all the ors in the beginning, mathematically, he is still correct. It is one or the other. All righty. Speaking of mathematically correct and practically perfect in almost every single way, I think I see my good friend, Nancy Morgan. Good morning, Nancy.
Hey, Rick, how you doing? Nice to see everybody today. Happy Monday. I am Nancy Morgan with Westport Mortgage, where we help realtors sell and help buyers buy. Today, I want to just talk about something that you've heard about before, but is a lender certified, fully underwritten pre-approval. We do have several lenders, not just one, who will approve with a TBD, which is a to be decided address. And this is a fully underwritten credit approval with an approval from the lenders on the lender's letterhead, which is helpful. But it's the credit approval. So that means the underwriter has approved their income, assets, credit, and debt. It does not mean that the appraisal has been approved yet. So that is another part of it. But typically it's great because you can close within 30 days typically of, getting your accepted offer, which this is really good for competing with cash offers and also competing with multiple offers. So who is this good for? It's good for conventional loans, most jumbo loans, and government loans. And for instance, I have a VA loan. So VA is, I think, the best program out there. You can do 100% financing. There's really no limit. So if you have someone with $1 million loan purchase and they are eligible to get a mortgage for 100% of the financing, a lot of times the seller is not going to be comfortable with that. So if they're not comfortable with that, this would be ideal. I have a situation like this right now where they've lost out on several homes because the seller just doesn't understand or they don't get the VA. And maybe, and okay, fine, but compared to a 20% down. So we're sending it in for a full underwrite. We don't have a rate lock because we don't have a property yet. We don't know when they're going to close and things like that. So this is really a great option for someone like that. or who's doing an FHA loan, or who's doing low down payment, or again, just anybody who really needs, who's lost out on properties. So give us a call with questions. I am Nancy Morgan with Westport Mortgage, your partner since 2007. Have a great day, everybody.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Nancy. Always appreciated. Do remember that a lot of you come to me often and say, you know, I'm just struggling getting offers accepted. And the biggest issue is we're competing against cash. Well, Nancy just gave you a great tool to help you compete with cash offers, right? There is always a way to win. You just got to figure out what it is. And that may be the path forward to getting your offers accepted. So thank you so much for giving us that tool, Nancy. If you have any other questions on that, do give Nancy, otherwise known as the Lady in Red. Or is that orange? I'm not quite sure what. Oh, it's all right. It's reddish. The Lady in Reddish. There we go. Okay. So a couple of quick announcements today before we get into our main topic. Today is Monday, June the 14th, which means tomorrow is Tuesday, June the 15th. That's exactly right. If that one gave you a struggle, you may need one more cup of coffee before heading into your day. Right. And so what happens on June 15th? We get to write checks, right? So do be certain that you have your quarterly estimated tax payment ready to go. I would hate for you to be late. So just a quick reminder on that. Hey, speaking of estimated tax payments and other things financial, we have two awesome things for you today. One at 11 o'clock, as you saw over the weekend and as Steve announced last week, we are launching our Dave Ramsey series today, Financial Peace University. That will happen today at 11 o'clock for session number 1. And then we're Monday, Friday on that for the next 4 weeks. What I would encourage you to do is jump in at 11 o'clock today. It's on this Zoom channel. See what that's all about, and then you can decide whether or not you want to cruise through the rest of the course. But we highly encourage you to jump into that. And then at 1 o'clock today, to just kind of follow that same theme, I am teaching in this Zoom room a course called Agent Financials. So if you have questions or thoughts or concerns about how to run your business from the financial side, what that looks like, the difference between personal accounts and business accounts, what your tax obligations might be as an independent contractor. Come at 1 o'clock today. We'll kind of give you the overview of what all that looks like. Certainly not in a place of any advice your accountant gives you, but we want to give you some tips and tricks and strategies to help you move forward with your finances as a business owner. And then for tomorrow, just a real quick reminder, we are beginning another round of Ignite tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We had great success with our last round, so we're going to start that right again before the heat and the height of the summer is upon us. So do join us for that tomorrow. And then I do know at 1 o'clock tomorrow, we have, I think we have Rachel Adams-Lee joining us. Steve, do you want to just unmute real quick and tell everyone about the topic there?
Absolutely. I was gonna jump in if you didn't say that. Yeah, 1 o'clock tomorrow, guys. Rachel Adams-Lee, an amazing leader of a team here at Keller Williams. She really is a rock star, and the class is going to be double your business just from social media. She's an absolute guru and setting the world on fire. And we're lucky to have her for the time we're going to have her tomorrow. So if you can carve out that time and be in this Zoom room.
Excellent. Exciting. She's been with us before, and I know she got really high marks for the information that she brought, as well as her energy and personality. So do avail yourself of that tomorrow at 1 o'clock. All right, so our main topic today, before we get into Marty Miller Day 10, I can't believe we're already at Marty Miller Day 10. My goodness. 5.0 Day 10. It's like we've got more Marty Miller under our belt than I don't know what. I will tell you that in the last couple of weeks / months, and it's not slowing down, it's only getting more frequent. I get lots of calls and questions and comments about people being upset. So if you're on this morning because of the email promo indicating some tips and strategies about handling upset efficiently, that's why we're in an age where Emotions tend to run high. We're certainly in a market where things are constantly changing. And if you're not willing or able to adapt quickly, you and your clients may find yourselves in that kind of hair on fire, drama-driven, upset mode, right? And so I wanted to just walk you through some thoughts that I have, as well as some strategies to make sure we get through upset, because upset is one of those things that is just kind of a natural part of life, right? Not everyone is always calm all the time, but how do we get there and get out the other side effectively and efficiently? So here this morning are your 10 strategies for dealing with upset. Number 1, focus people in on what they are trying to accomplish, right? Focus people in on what they're trying to accomplish. Remember, upset is just a distraction from problem solving. It's not a tool that helps you problem solve. It's a distraction from the actual problem solving, right? So refocus people in when they start to head towards that upset, towards that emotion. Refocus them in on where are you trying to get and how are we going to get there. Number 2, don't get sucked into the upset. And I'm going to tell you that this is not a judgment, it's just an observation that some of you really struggle with what I just said. Don't get sucked into the upset, right? There's a difference between delivering really great customer service and falling headfirst into the issues that then don't allow you to actually stand outside and be objective, to help pull the client through, right? Because the thought is, well, if I kind of align myself and feel the same way they're feeling, well, now we're all on the same team and all pushing forward. I would challenge that thought. Someone has to be able to stay on the outside of it to actually think things through. So don't get sucked into the upset. Number 3, recognize that upset is something that other people are allowed to feel, right? You don't get to have control over that. Whether it's another agent or whether it's your client or somebody else's client or the attorney or the inspector or whoever might be upset, remember, they're allowed to feel that way. And it's not necessarily because of you. And you don't necessarily have a responsibility to or for it. Right? So allow people to feel the way they want to feel. You get to have control over you. Upset is not the dirty word or the end of the planet that many of you think that it is, right? If a client is upset, they have a right to that. Let's just help them through that and out the other side, right? Number 4, be sympathetic. Be sympathetic. There are 2 words that solve almost every issue that you run into when it comes to dealing with people who have a heightened state of emotion. And those 2 words are, I understand. There are 2 other words that some of you struggle saying. I'll say them now. I'm sorry. Right? We're going to get to the I'm sorry a little bit later. But I understand allows you to validate and recognize what's going on with the other person without becoming an accomplice to it, right? For good, bad, or in between. Like I said, don't get sucked into the drama. Don't get sucked into the emotion. Don't get sucked into the upset. But recognize it. I understand, right? This is especially important when there's an other side in the in a transaction where there's somebody else on the other side. Because if you don't just step back and recognize it without becoming and get sucked into being an accomplice to it, you then jump into emotion and could possibly start villainizing that other side with the client, right? Do you remember a client who did that? All of a sudden, the buyer who made a choice that they didn't like becomes the absolute devil and enemy, right? Remember that it's not good customer service to suddenly now villainize that other person with your client, right? You actually have a more, your responsibility to that client is really to help them avoid that villainization, right? Not to jump on the bandwagon with them because it doesn't move them forward. Number 5, always move to the very next objective step. Right? When upset and drama kind of comes your way, you want to be able to step back and make sure that you're focused on objectively moving things to the very next step to move something forward. Upset clouds linear thinking, and it makes everything, quote unquote, everything look or seem terrible. Guys, that is almost never the case. Everything is not falling apart. Just the appraisal has an issue. That's all. We just have to fix that. Everything is not happening. The world is not coming undone, right? So let's keep molehills molehills. If there's a mountain, deal with the mountain, but don't turn the molehills into mountains. And always focus people on what is that next objective step they can take to move it forward. Number 6, don't allow someone else's upset to alter your behavior. I get calls all the time saying, my client's upset, what should I do? And the first thing I ask is, well, what would you do if the client wasn't upset? If you remove that idea of someone is upset, well, what logically is the next step in the process? Well, what if we just said, I understand you're upset, and refocus them on the next step, right? Just because someone's upset doesn't mean that everything has to change. There's still a next step. Let's just do that. Remember that when someone in our world becomes upset, for many of us, it erodes our confidence. Don't allow that to happen, right? Remain confident. Know that the process is the process. The next step is still the next step, and refocus the emotion on that objective fact. Number 7, recognize the synonyms. Recognize the synonyms. I'll give you a short list. Outraged, incensed, furious, angry, frustrated, mad, disappointed, enraged, distressed, troubled, perturbed, irritated, agitated, bothered, worried. I'm sure you can add your own. Plus any language multipliers. I like to call them language multipliers, like extremely, very, insanely, right? They're all just expressions of emotion. They're not necessarily a basis for action, right? And they're not usually relevant to problem solving. I'm going to tell you that when things come my way and they start with, my client is insanely furious because XYZ, I instantaneously remove that from the sentence, and I replace that phrase with the phrase needs to make a decision about. So think about how different that is. My client is insanely irritated about the fact that the buyer changed their mind about an inspection item. Well, if you just take that emotion out of it and change it to, my client needs to make a decision about a buyer who changed their mind about an inspection item, well, that changes the whole scenario, right? You know what to do to help somebody make a decision about somebody changing their mind, right? But the second we get stuck in they're very upset, they're insanely furious, all the emotion kind of clogs the works up. So I just replace it. And if that's a strategy that works for you, go ahead and replace the drama part of it with needs to make a decision on. Number 8, set better and better expectations. Right? When people are upset, it's usually because something hasn't gone as expected. Remember, conflict only arises from unmet expectations. So set clearer expectations, almost to the point of overkill on expectation setting, and then watch how it reduces the drama in your world. Number 9, options are the opposite of emotion. Options are the opposite of emotion. When people are in a frenzy with their hair on fire, what they're really saying is that I feel like I'm backed into a corner. I feel like I don't have any options. So objectively present those options to allow them to move forward, right? Once they understand they have choice, that emotion starts to calm and it makes people feel like they're back in control. Number 10, stop taking upset personally. And yes, I am speaking to all the high I and high S personalities within the sound of my voice, because the high D and high C personalities are like, well, why would you ever do that? Understand that your natural behavioral style will determine whether this actually is relevant for you, right? But many of us take upset personally. 9 times out of 10, remember, you didn't do the thing that people are upset with. It's the transaction or the buyer or the seller or the attorney or whomever else, right? And remember, in our world, that's just called Monday. That's what we do, right? We troubleshoot. We smooth out the bumps. So remember, it's not personal, it's just business. And in those 1 out of 10 times where you did cause the drama, that you are the cause of the upset or the frustration, just own it. Own it, apologize for it, and then move forward. You don't have to stay stuck in a world of, oh my goodness, what did I do? Right? Just own it, apologize for it, and move forward. All right, guys, there's your 10 strategies for drama, except Donna Gilbert asked for a bonus. So therefore, I'll give you a bonus. And your bonus this morning, many of you already know. It's a bold law, right? And your bonus this morning is the bold law. Logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. Because with all those 10 thoughts and strategies about reducing drama and handling upset and emotion, I want to make sure you remember that you also can't discard emotion completely, because logic will make them think, but emotion does actually get them to act. So you need to find the balance. So be careful you don't make emotion the enemy. When used properly, it can be a tool to help people move forward. There's your 10 plus a bonus. Have an awesome day today. Mr. Adonis, where are you? There you are. Tell us what we got going with Mr. Marty Miller today.
What an excellent class. Thank you, sir. Today, we're going to talk about completing the additional information in contact records. So many things you could put in context. So Marty will explain.
Good morning, Keller Williams, and welcome back to the KW Command 66-Day Challenge 5.0, and today is day 10. Today we are going to basically wrap up our training on the Contacts applet by diving in one more time to talk about contacts and additional information. So let's go into our Contacts applet, and we're going to select one of our contacts here, and let's select Mr. Walsh. And if I come over and click on the pencil sign, you're going to see that we have the ability to edit some additional details on this contact. So I wanted to kind of knock out a few things that we had not yet discussed. First of all, there's add relationship. So this button allows you to add anyone who is related to this particular contact. The contact already exists in your database, then you can start searching for that person. And if they don't exist, then you can click on add to basically add that contact. So Brandon's sister was Brenda. Let's click on add. And now we're going to have a new contact made for Brenda. In addition, you can come down and see, right, we talked about lead source, we've talked about the difference between leads and contacts, we've talked about tags, but if I come down to add more information, I've got 3 additional categories here. So under additional contact information, if you know how Brandon prefers to be contacted, pretty sure he's a texting guy, you can choose one of these 3. If for any reason you have an additional email or additional phone number associated with the contact record, you could put that in. One thing I wanted to make sure that you do when you are putting in primary addresses is that if you know this is Brandon's mailing address, make sure that you check this radio button. This radio button is really important when we get into campaigns and start talking about doing mail out campaigns, direct mail postcards. You can actually send direct mail postcards to contacts in your database as long as you have their mailing address checked. So this is a really important one. In addition, you've got social profiles here that you can choose, right? And so let's say that profile, you do need to make sure you include the HTTPS, so you can see as soon as I start typing, it automatically includes that for me. And then it could be, it's me, Brandon, right? Let's just assume that that's his actual social profile. I could add one for Twitter, and maybe that's his Twitter handle. You can see as soon as I start typing there. Maybe it's Forever Mondale. So you can add up to, I don't think there's a limit actually, so you can have a whole bunch of different social profiles on here if you wanted to add those. In addition, underneath the About section, you can add in the legal name. So we know that his legal name is not Brandon Walsh. His legal name is actually Jason Priestley. So let's put that in. Description, mega star, best known for Beverly Hills 90210. Unless you think he was better known for some other show, feel free to send me feedback on that. But you can drop in birthday and home anniversary. We do have smart plans based around both of these addresses, and the smart plan will not work unless we have these addresses put in. So you'll want to make sure if you do have your contact's birthday, you can put that in, and make sure you understand this is home anniversary. So when they purchase the home with you, that way when it's been a year since they purchased the home or such, you can add the smart plan basically that would kind of trigger some events based upon when they actually purchased the home with you. If you have additional relationships other than the first one we put in, you can add in some more. You've also got work, so let's put in Peach Pit, and sure enough, we've got the Peach Pit Bar and Grill, but we're gonna actually just put in Peach Pit, so I can show you that if that doesn't already exist, you can type in Peach Pit, and then we should get the opportunity to, well, let's put in job title, cashier. For some reason, it's not letting me add a new company name, but typically this is where I would add that, and it's just going to let me choose that one. So, but company name there, and then additionally, you have the custom fields, which we talked about earlier on in the challenge. That was on day 3. So basically wanted to just kind of wrap a bow on it, the additional information that you can put in when editing a contact. Again, we talked about the ability to add a relationship, the ability to put in under additional contact information, the preferred method of contact, any additional emails or phone numbers that you have. Super important, making sure that you check the same as mailing address button if this primary address is their mailing address. Again, that helps us with direct mail campaigns later in the challenge. Your social profiles, the ability to add in legal name, description, birthday, home anniversary, any additional relationships, and company or job title information. That's it for today, guys. Day 10. Hope you're having a fantastic Monday. And as always, I'll look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank you, Marty. We appreciate it. So tomorrow we're going to start talking about some of the other applets. We'll talk about the task applets tomorrow, the tasks applet tomorrow. So join us then. All right, we'll see you next time. Maybe we'll be at the beach with Robert. All right, bye, y'all.